It's Monday, July 20th, and time for your Barbados Today morning news update. LIAT's shareholder governments are scheduled to hold talks later today on the cash-strapped regional carrier. The meeting, which is expected to commence at 5 p.m., will discuss the airline's fate. It comes ahead of a scheduled July 31st meeting of the carrier's creditors to discuss its liquidation. At today's talks, Antigua and Barbados Prime Minister Gaston Brown is expected to pitch his government's new rescue plan to reorganize LIAT to Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Dominica for their consideration. More in this report from ABS News.
The plan calls for a dramatic turnaround in the fortunes of the regional carrier, which suffered losses of up to $14 million last year. Government says if its plan is adopted, LIAT would likely turn a profit of $11,000 and $12,000 in the first and second years, respectively. It says this would be achieved by reducing expenditure by 15%, through staff cuts, lower employee pay, and more efficient procurements to include efficient fuel purchase and reduction in office rental payments. The plan further calls for the introduction of a baggage fee expected to yield $9 million yearly, introduction of a minimum revenue guarantee to be paid by all countries that LIAT serves, and reintroduction of LIAT's Quick Pack delivery service.
Constituents of St. Philip South are being urged not to lose direction and to stay focused. The plea from their Member of Parliament in Dawe came as he addressed a decision by his Ministry of Agriculture to ban the sale of imported chicken and turkey wings. Former Agriculture Minister Anthony Wood has criticized We're on the move. But speaking at yesterday's branch meeting held at Rice's, the minister maintained that the decision was in the best interest of smaller farmers.
Go right across the landscape of this country and you will see poultry farmers, small, 25, 100 chickens. But what are they doing? They're either supplementing an income or they don't have no income at all, and they're trying to use poultry over a 6 weeks period to be able to feed themselves and pay the bills. And that you will ask me, a boy who grew up in Church Village, that had to live through this same kind of struggle, to go to the United Kingdom and import chicken wings in Barbados at a time when there was a pandemic. I have fundamentally no problems with people eating chicken wings. Eat what you want. I may not agree with you. I've spoken about diets before. But put the noose around my neck, because I will not, as a boy growing up in Church Village, where we had to raise chickens equally, pigs and sheep, to be able to pay our bills, to come and say to Barbadians in a pandemic, I am going to import chicken wings. I don't care who suffers. Come on, Bajans. Isn't this who we are?
Minister Ware said his first order of business was to protect smaller farmers.
Let us get real, Bajans. Please, and stop the foolishness in this country. Because we have to reach the point where we're going to determine if Black Lives Matter and if we are serious about it. And I have never seen any other color than black people with chickens 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 and 100 in the backyard. So don't tell me Black Lives Matter and then you want me to go to the United Kingdom, take foreign currency that we are currently not earning, and import chicken wings simply because it suits your agenda. I in Delaware will not do it. And let's be clear, because I have seen it myself. And if you can't switch to any part of the chicken, go to fish, go to pork, go to beef, go to lamb. But you will not convince this student in management that I must be confined to something that I know is wrong. I'm not going to do it.
Barbados will not buckle under pressure of any other country as it continues in its fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Word of this from Health and Wellness Minister Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic, who also made it clear that the country would continue to use the services of Cuban nurses and do what's best for Barbadians. The minister made the comment as he responded to a question on alleged threats by the U.S. during a Barbados Labour Party branch meeting of the St. Philip South constituency at Rice's yesterday.
Remember the term friends of all satellites of none? Barbados is a sovereign country, and we make decisions in the interests of our country, just like other countries, large and small, make all of their decisions in the interest of their country. We have engaged the nurses from Cuba. Barbados had diplomatic relations from 1970s with Cuba when other countries were trying to do the same thing, put pressure. And we are not going to buckle under the pressure of any other nation. We are doing what's in the interest of our people. The nurses will remain here because we expect that we'll have more cases, and we are a tourism-based country, 40% or so of GDP, if not more. And I don't think those people in the United States really understand that we cannot, at this point in time, do without tourism.
Meanwhile, the minister disclosed that new methods of monitoring persons in home quarantine for COVID-19 would soon come on stream.
We are going to be better this time at doing the home quarantine because within this coming week or so, we have an app that is going on cell phones that will be able to trace people and know where people are, that sort of stuff, and where they have been along the journey here. And that's not all. We are waiting for the supplier to send in some bracelets that people will be given. We would have had them by now, but we told them we want waterproof bracelet because you can't see it in the sea or in the bath. And you keep it on. If you take it off, we know that you've taken it off, right? And then if you are in home quarantine, and we had to do this before, and you decide that you're going to play the fool, well, we can pick you up and carry you straight to Paragon. Can't get you one way, we get you the next, right? So, and that is why we brought on also the 60 constituency health officers, because they have been a great help. People who know the communities and can walk about and do what they have to do.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from our regional neighbors now. The Bahamas government reinstates COVID-19 measures as the country records 15 new cases of the dreaded virus. Effective immediately, the national carrier Bahamas Air will cease all outgoing flights to the United States, while only international flights and vessels from the United Kingdom, Canada and the European Union will be accepted as of Wednesday. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis made the announcement in a national address.
International commercial flights and commercial vessels carrying passengers will not be permitted to enter our borders except for commercial flights from Canada, the United Kingdom, and the European Union. This will come into effect as of Wednesday, the 22nd of July, 2020. At midnight. Bahamas Air will cease outgoing flights to the United States of America effective immediately. To accommodate visitors scheduled to leave after Wednesday, the 22nd July 2020, outgoing commercial flights will be permitted. Private international flights and charters for Bahamians, residents, and visitors will also be permitted. Pleasure crafts and yachts will likewise be permitted.
And finally, on the international scene, EU talks aimed at reaching an agreement on a huge post-COVID-19 recovery fund have stretched into a fourth day. More in this report from Reuters TV.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel warned Sunday the EU may not reach a deal on a coronavirus stimulus plan, as EU leaders got ready to meet for a third day of talks on a $2 trillion economic recovery package. The deal is designed to rescue the bloc's economies as they face their worst recession since World War II. So far, there have been fallouts due to the demands of rich but financially prudent countries. Merkel said there was a lot of goodwill, but also many positions, and that it's possible there is no result. 2 long days of negotiations have shown up a divide between the EU's north and south. A so-called frugal group of northern richer states, led by the Netherlands, have not as yet backed down from demands for cuts to the package. That has not been well received by all, including Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban.
There are some countries, basically the Dutch anyway, who would like to create a mechanism here which provide an influence to the Dutch to control the spending of the money basically by the South. So it's basically a dispute between the Dutch and the Italians.
Leaders have framed the summit as a key moment for the EU after almost 70 years of European integration. If they fail to reach a deal, experts believe it could raise serious questions about the EU's continued viability.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.